Hey everybody, Real Estate Ninja here. I hope you're doing well. This is the backup channel for the Economic Ninja in case Google gets angry. Hey, I hope you're doing well. I don't know why, I just was sitting here in my car and going, let's do a live AMA. Ask me anything about real estate because I think people have some really good questions. And I got to tell you a story as you're figuring out your questions, you're getting ready to type them. I'm going to tell you a story about my course because I think I have to redo the course, the Real Estate Crash Course, for this reason. I put it out to a handful of real estate entrepreneurs in the YouTube realm. And I said, hey, would you like to look at this? Let me know what you think of it. And if you think you could help make it better, let's make it better together, right? And everybody rejected it. Every single person. I swear in social media, if it's not your own idea, you don't want to do it. And one person took me up on the idea. I said, here, come look at it. He contacted me. He says, this isn't a crash course. I'm like, what do you mean? And he goes, it's so much more than that. Like, you're not telling people to just sell their homes and not buy. I'm like, I know. I want people to buy right. And I teach people cycles. There's the mother of all cycles happening right now. And it's an amazing opportunity. But I think maybe I need to rebrand it because there is a problem where they just don't understand the cycle and where we're at. And they don't even understand, hey, you got to live somewhere. So why not buy a house? And if you're going to buy a house, why not save money? And what type of property to buy over the others just sort of blew me away. Anyway, that's my story. Let's dive into the questions. Who's got a question? Ask me anything. I think I've only done this like one time. Someone's talking about regretting not buying silver. Okay, this is about real estate. We're going to have to stay focused because I guarantee you there's going to be crypto questions too. But today, we're just going to talk about real estate. Who's got a question about real estate? See, this is the awkward thing. And honestly, here, check this out. Here's a comment. Love the honesty, good information, but unfortunately, don't move. I'm low income and just can't crush in this cycle. Okay, real quick, to the mom that said that, I want you to tell me how much you pay in rent. Tell me how much, and if somebody sees it, because this could get really fast, because I have nobody moderating this really quick. I want to know how much you pay in rent. Now, this is what blows me away. A lot of people, they hurt themselves by saying that they are low income. Okay, I don't care what your income is right now. We need to start working inside of your own circumstances to get yourself better. All right. Yeah, I can't see. This is going to be hard when I have to ask a second question. I need a moderator for this. But when I bought my first home, I could afford X amount in rent. And so what I said is, I'm going to go buy a house that the payment would be X amount, a 30-year fixed. And I found out real quick, I'm going to have to take a concession. So I'm going to have to step down to an older home. Or maybe you're going, well, I can't afford a home. I can't afford that kind of payment. Well, then you're going to have to take a concession and step down into a condominium or possibly a trailer. But yet most people don't want to take those concessions, right? And so you need to start somewhere. But how you start is start speaking positively. I know it sounds crazy, but it is not mumbo jumbo. It is speaking straightforward and about your circumstances, but positively, in a positive direction. Look at this, Marguerite, you guys know with me and my spelling. Margarita said, I refinanced in 2021 from 4.25% to 2.7%. I'm so glad I did. All I was able to buy was silver, trying to pay off debt. Disability has no payment schedule. All right. So guys, there's a question. So ask me a question. Oh, here we go. I got the comment from Melja Mom. I don't pay rent. We have a mortgage. It's $850, but we have to remodel it. We are living in the garage. I know how this is. We are living in the garage. It's an ARM loan. We downgraded in home, but upgraded with land. Okay. So that ARM, I'm going to start teaching people how to use velocity banking and how to pay their loans off fast. If you don't know what velocity banking is, it is a way to pay off a home loan using a different type of loan amortization. let's use simple interest as an example. When you use a loan with simple interest and you dump the loan balance, you create a loan balance on one loan, let's say like a HELOC onto the other, you're able to pay it off real fast when you directly deposit your income, your paychecks into that loan. I'm super simplifying it right now, but it is an amazing way. I would very seriously consider, if you can, refinancing into a fixed rate mortgage. I believe that you're going to see mortgage rates dip a little bit, but then take off in the future, in the next few years. So adjustable rate mortgages are exploding in usage. That only is extremely, even more telling that we are at the end of a real estate cycle. And what blows me away, we've now passed 8% on the drop of average and median home prices in the nation. And the nation's not paying attention. And I get that it's still a lot higher than it was during the great financial crisis, but this is just a drop in the barrel. This is just the beginning. So be careful with the adjustable rate mortgage. Now here, someone says, I'd like to buy a condo in Myrtle Beach to use for Airbnb. Ooh, what percentage would you expect leased properties to fall to? Okay, these were once 150, are now about, now think about this, they were once 150, they're now about 90 grand. How much farther could these fall? This is a perfect example what Savage is saying. You are seeing parts of the country that are collapsing way more than the median and the average home price. All right, 150 to 90, massive drop, almost 50%. Was it 40%, something like that? I can't tell you how much more they will drop, but I could tell you when the bottom comes in. The bottom will come in when interest rates stabilize on the low end. The Federal Reserve always drops rates massively to deal with a collapse, right? And by the time they do that, it's in the mode, and they do it on purpose, where most people can't qualify for a loan because they've missed a payment somewhere or they've slow paid a few times, okay? So when the Federal Reserve is aggressively dropping rates, and when I mean aggressively, there's no bottom in sight. Like when they're asking the Federal Reserve, hey, how low are you going? They're like, we're doing everything we can to be as accommodative as we can until something bottoms. And that's when you know, well, more than likely, we're going to go into negative interest rates. I know it sounds crazy, and it's not going to be available for just anybody. Okay, you're gonna have to be sort of in the commercial sphere to get into negative. Very simple, much akin to what happened in Europe just recently, in certain parts of Europe, where you could get negative mortgage interest rates. So another thing you have to understand is Airbnbs are going to be a bad investment, because as things get worse, fewer and fewer people are going to have the money to go on a vacation. And on top of that, you're going to have more and more emboldened communities and cities attacking Airbnbs or short-term vacation rentals. The only time I would buy an Airbnb right now would be to do a cost seg report, which is amazing, which allows you to write off around, on average, 1/3 of the total cost of the property. There are some certain things, like you have to put 100 hours worth of work into it. You have to have it marketed for rent as a short-term rental, which is defined as, I believe, 14 days, no more than 14 days at a time. And then you get to get this cost seg report. I would be doing it for the investment, the tax saving side, and then the next year I'd convert it to a long-term rental property. So that's something that you want to talk to your tax advisor about, though. So let's see what other questions we got. Here we go. All right. How do you safely take over someone else's mortgage that is going into foreclosure, that wants out of their loan, instead of getting, my own mortgage? You're talking about, this is very dangerous. You are talking about a massive, what is it called? Movement right now called subject to deals. First off, they're not allowed. Banks don't like them. When banks find out, they can call your loan due immediately. You are breaking a contract somewhere. And that is very, very dangerous. Right now, as of right now, the facts are most banks are not calling these due. You can usually negotiate yourself. However, most people that do sub 2 deals aren't just calling the bank up. They're hiding the fact that they're doing this. If you get the wrong area, see, because banks will bend over backwards to, if they find out that you are not the legal owner of the house, the mortgage, sorry, the mortgage isn't in your name. I mean, um, if it's a property that's underwater, they're going to work with you. However, if it's in an area they want, meaning they can take this back and either sell it for a profit or hold on to it and figure something out, another thing, they're going to come get it. And I think it's a very dangerous thing. And there are people making tons and tons of money talking people into doing these sub 2 deals. Now, with that being said, there are a lot of assumable mortgages out there where you can go and contact, and a lot of smart, not a lot of them, but some smart agents around the country are using this as a marketing deal right now to sell homes because honestly, they're having a hard time selling homes. I know it sounds crazy. It's not in the media, but it's truth. So what they're doing is they're posting it on the listing that this is a assumable loan, which means that you would go in, and you ask the owner, is this assumable loan? Most owners don't even know. Get out your mortgage docs. Let's look. Oh, it's assumable. I like the rate and terms. This is how much is owed. And then more than likely, especially if the tenant or the owner is not losing the home, you're going to need to cough up a massive down payment because the home is appreciated so much. If the deal is right and you can get into an assumable 3.5% mortgage and you've got $150,000 to come up with the difference, man, that's the way to go. And that's super simple because that is an application process with the mortgage company. They authorize it, and then you go into escrow and you assume the mortgage and the title transfers. All right. Let's see here. Creative financing. So Daryl, I'm about to blow that away because that's what I'm working on right now, a course on that. And I actually I'm going to show people how to not go to hard money lenders, to private lenders. I don't want to see people paying insane, extravagant, exorbitant fees that you never get back because most people, they think, oh, I need hard money. And because I've got a bad credit score, something like that, I'm going to go completely around it. I'm going to show people how to get Fannie and Freddie approved products. And if not going that route, I'm going to show them how to qualify for DSCR loans, things like that, how to structure things inside of an entity legally so that you are getting the best rates possible and not paying multiple points. That's absolutely insane. Okay, what type of loans do you plan on use to buy all of your rentals? I will be using DSCR. Debt service coverage ratio loans. And the reason why, you're going to pay a little bit more in rate and some fees than you would going the traditional Fannie and Freddie, the government lending, but I don't lie about my status as a home. I did it once, honestly. I learned a lesson. I didn't feel right about it, but I said, oh, it's going to be an owner-occupied loan, wink, wink. I did that a long time ago. Didn't sit right with me. And my portfolio exploded after I started being honest about it. And that's just me being totally real. But a lot of people do that. They say, oh yeah, I'm going to totally live in that house. And they mean to rent it out, right? Well, there's another problem with that because the government, the bank can figure it out. And in hard times, they can call your loan due like that. But another thing is when you start doing things the right way and you putting them in entities, and that's what I teach people is how to start an LLC, a C Corp, or filing as an S, which there is no such thing as an S Corp. It's a filing. And then I want your company that you run to take out the mortgages, right? So DSCR is going to be great. As a matter of fact, I've got some ways to show people how to do a DSCR. What is it called? HELOCs too, which is a total game changer. So I want you to be debt free in your personal life. And then I want your companies that you run. And I know and this might sound daunting, like, oh, this is too much. And it's actually not that hard because like with my companies, I pay an attorney to keep all my stuff filed, and it's not that expensive. I'm not joking. It's not that expensive. And I want to teach people how to do that and step it up because once you get into that next realm of investing in real estate, then I'm going to show people how to break through to into commercial. And commercial is actually very easy. And there's a lot of deals out there because your square foot, your dollar per square foot drops significantly when you go from a 4-unit place to a 5-unit. Let's see here. Have I ever looked at any Australian real estate markets? And would you say we are 6 to 12 months behind the US? I honestly know nothing about Australia. I don't even know how to pronounce it. Australia. You call this a knife? This is a knife. Or whatever. Okay, you guys know what I'm talking about. I don't know anything about Australia. I would love to, but I'm not really big. I've never invested abroad. I'm actually going to look at a place in Europe for 4 months that a buddy of mine's like, you got to buy this. And there's one place that I want. It's a train station. Not kidding. That's been converted into a home. It is absolutely beautiful. It looks like the train station in New Orleans Square at Disneyland. And a little train goes by every day. I'm like, okay, I got to go look at this. So that is something I'm going to look at. But I have no experience there. I apologize. But here's the cool thing. Real estate fundamentals are the same anywhere. When you take into play the cost of a property, then the cost of buying that property and all the different associations with that, mortgage rates, insurance, and all that kind of stuff, you start to figure out where we are in the cycle. And that's why the question earlier about Florida's real estate was so important, because they're going through an exponential crisis with their insurance. And so it's a big deal. And that's why I want people to take advantage of this. Let's see here. Someone says their neighbor just rented to some illegals. Okay. Now, this is another really interesting thing about the real estate market. Oh, this is going to be a good question. It's not a question. I'm going to make it a question. So like Denver just started a hotline for Denver, Colorado. If you desperately want to house immigrants, call us here. It's like, I'm just like, oh, give me the phone. I need that phone number right now. But they're offering money, right? They're offering you money. And right now, people are hurting. They're hurting, and they financially. So they're going to start doing this. They're going to find out real quick that at one point, two things are going to happen. That house is about to be trashed. I'm not joking. I mean, think about it. Anything in life where you just give someone something, do they honor it? Do they take care of it? Do they cherish it? No. You see it with rich kids in Ferraris all the time, spinning out and running into telephone poles on YouTube. My point being is this isn't going to work out well. I mean, only logic would say that. I mean, type one if you agree. This isn't going to end well. The house is going to get thrashed, and then you're going to all of a sudden find that one of these days, that government program, it's going to be pulled. And then guess what you got? You have people in your home that have the right to stay in that home. They're not squatters. There was contract, money paid, and now you're having to evict them through an eviction process. And I want to remind you too, as all these states are getting more and more emboldened and brazen, like during COVID, where they would tell the banks, you can't foreclose, or the landlords, you can't evict them. Think about what's about to happen with all these people. So we are in a time, and there are a lot of people that are hurting, or they just aren't that logical, and they're taking this money. It's going to end badly for them. Let's see here. Oh, here we go, Nora. Thank you for the real estate course, Ninja. I learned so much. I'm waiting patiently. I'm going to win. You totally are going to. And I'm stoked because every day I get emails like that. And I thank you so much for believing in me, to be honest with you. All right, let's see here. Will it be a grow house a month? I don't know what that means. Okay. When the bank loans you money, where does the money come from? Well, hopefully everyone understands this. It's created from nothing. No joke, from nothing. Because what happens is when you walk in and you go, hey, I'd like a mortgage, they go, sweet. And they go, how much is it? Like 500 grand? Like, yeah, I want 500 grand. Okay, copy. They call the Federal Reserve. I'm simplifying this. They go, Federal Reserve, I'm going to need 500,000 extra money. And the Federal Reserve goes, poof, they got a fairy in the back room. I'm not joking. They just make it out of nothing. They go, okay, we're going to loan you 500 grand at, let's say, 4%. And they're like, we're good, because we're going to take that 4% money and we're going to loan it to this schmuck for 500 grand at 7. They're like, you're going to make 3%? He goes, yep. Like, keep crushing it. And that's what they do. And then as you pay it back, they pay back the Federal Reserve, and the Federal Reserve just takes it off the ledger and goes, it's gone. It's gone. Oh, but we got our interest. The Federal Reserve got interest. They got bigger. And the bank got interest. They got bigger. It's a total, it's a horrible, horrible system. It's collapsing, yada, yada. That's why I want everyone to take advantage of this. All right, let's see here. How long do you think it'll take for the housing market to bottom out? All right. I can't tell you a date. I can tell you because we're going into a slight bout of hyperinflation because the government is printing money, just like hand crank, They're going, we're just printing money. We're going to keep this going, right? What happens is when you go into a crisis and as unemployment rises, it's going to do exactly what happened with the interest rate. Uh, our inflation, Federal Reserve's like, we're going to keep inflation at 2%. We need actually, inflation's too low. We got to crank it up a little bit. They did this like years and years and years ago. They cranking it up, okay, to that 2%, and then it goes 2.1%, 2.2, and everyone's like, inflation's going up, and they're like, oh crap, it was supposed to just stop it too, and then it goes past. That's going to happen in unemployment. They're going to go, we need people, lay people off. And they go, okay, we'll lay people off. Stock markets goes up, and then all of a sudden they go, oh wait, the unemployment rate, it's good. We're good. It's a good, healthy unemployment rate. We actually want a certain amount of Americans not employed. And then just let all those immigrants in. So you see, it's hard not to be sarcastic because this is a crazy system, and you got to act a little crazy, just fit in, I guess. Then the unemployment rises. Well, when unemployment rises, they lose control and everything crashes, and then they start dropping rates. And again, you've got to wait until you get near zero. The only reason I'm saying near zero is because this time is different because we've had near zero twice in 2 different cycles. It's becoming a norm unless there's a currency conversion. All right. Let's see here. When is a good time to build a house? Is it crazy expensive right now? It is crazy expensive, so it's not a good time. So that's it. If you have money to blow, go for it. I got a buddy who just spent $3 million building a home, custom home. And ironically, it appraised for twice as much, but he started the construction process like 3 years ago. As of right now, that's not it. So I am a big proponent of remodeling right now. And it's super easy to figure it out. When construction companies are laying people off, they don't have money, they start dropping their per hour price and they start competing with other construction companies. That's when building gets better. But you also have something that we haven't seen since the 70s, and that's the cost of materials exploding in price. I mean, just look at copper. Copper is exploding. What did you just hit $5 a pound or whatever it was? $5. The copper wire, the lumber, the drywall, everything's getting more expensive. And so this isn't the time to be doing that. Just sit back and wait. I know that's hard, but don't worry. You don't have more than 5 years before. I mean, I'd be shocked if you're still here 5 years from now going, it's too expensive to build. The bottom is falling out right now. When rates start to drop, does it become harder to get a loan from the banks? That's a great question. So check this out. That's a great question. Yes, it does get harder. This is why. Because they just tighten up their lending and they go, and I'll give you an example. As of right now, the government's saying, banks, if people have bad credit score, we're going to fine you if you don't give them a loan, because we're just trying to get them into a house because they're financially incompetent. Oh, they are, right? Because they got a bad credit score. They screwed up somewhere. They didn't plan ahead. People are like, oh, you don't know, Ninja, life's tough. I'm like, yeah, life was super tough when you bought a car. And I bought cars for $500 and driven them around. Not joking. It sounded like a washing machine. We called it the drive. It was a Jetta TDI. Was it 98 TDI? I don't remember the year, but it looked bad. Paint's peeling off. I'm no joke. I'm a millionaire, and I'm driving to work. All the guys at the fire station are mocking me. I'm like, it's green like money, and it's just spitting money out every time I say bucks, right? But people will run out instead of buying that and driving it. Oh no, I got to buy a car that's reliable or something that looks good in because I'm still trying to date someone. And they go buy something that's nice, and then they can't pay that payment. Well, so what happens is right now the government's saying you're going to give all those people loans. You're going to give it to them. And we're going to finance it. We'll make sure you got the money. And so the banks are, all right, we're going to take on the risk, but it's at your cost. The government's like, do it. So lending right now is pretty easy. You could go out and get loans with no income verification. Those are out there. You're going to pay more. But then when the crash comes, the government sort of pulls back. Then the banks really pull back and they go, ooh, we got to really scrutinize these. And it happens in the underwriting process. And so what happens is it's harder to get a loan. Only because they tighten their standards. So that's why for the last year and a half, I've been teaching people how to get prepared for this. And one of those is to not screw with your credit, build your credit file up. And then we start working with bringing in certain types of cash flow and building up your balance sheet, right? So when you walk into a bank, it will not be hard for you. It will be hard for the masses. And that's why rates are dropping, home prices are dropping, because you have fewer people qualifying for loans. End of story. It is no joke that simple. Let's see here. Oh, here we go. This is a great one. This comes from a gentleman named Look Up. So he's looking positively. No crash is coming. Stock market will keep going up. People like tossing this word around. All right. So Look Up. Do me a favor. How old are you? Can you put it down in the comment section? And then everyone look to find out how old Look Up is, okay? Go ahead and type it in there. And while we wait, I'll look for something else. How much money will it take to get started in investing in real estate? How do you continue to buy after you've used your savings to buy your first property? All right, so just so you know, if you need debt to buy a property, right now you can get loans, mortgages as low as 1% down with Rocket Mortgage. That's it. They're a non-bank lending company, and they're doing some pretty risky things, but they're able to sell if certain criteria are met, those loans off to other banks or to the government. And so you don't need a whole lot. Now, if you own a property, the best way is having a HELOC sitting off to the side, never using it unless you want to pull the trigger on an investment property. That's the best way. It's just sitting there. You're not paying any money on it. The HELOC's there. And then boom, you write a check for the down payment on the next place. But you've got to, and that's what I teach. It's a lot more than I could cover here. I've done like 50 videos on this stuff, but it's about having that emergency account set aside, buying the property right, saving the money, not getting over tapped out with that kind of stuff. All right. So has anyone found the age of that guy? No one's seen it yet? All right. So this is what I'd say to that person. There's no crash coming. Our markets have crashed twice since the year 2000. Twice. This time is different. It's worse. I don't think, and I let me know, type 2 if you would agree, would a 50% drop in the equity, in the indices, stock market, would you consider that a crash? Type 2 if you would consider that a crash. If real estate drops 50%, would you consider that a crash? I'm curious what you think. So type 2 if you think that. Type 3 if you're like, no, that's not a crash. 50% is not a crash. So it looks like everybody's typing 2. All right, cool. Someone just said at the beginning of this video, they're looking to buy a condominium in Florida that once were worth 150, they're now going for 90. How much are they going to go down? So as of right now, they're 40%. There are places in California that are dropping substantially. As a matter of fact, I got a call from a guy that's really involved in real estate in Tennessee. He says in the $2 million range, we've already seen those homes drop almost 50%. They're like 1.1 now. And so I consider those to be crashes in real estate. What they once were selling for, they're now selling for substantially less. Well, the cool thing is you haven't seen the banks tighten lending yet. And when you see that, all bets are off, because everybody trying to sell a home gets extremely desperate or scared because no buyers are coming. As a matter of fact, no buyers are showing up now, because the same amount of homes that sold last year, think about this, last year, and this is reported by the National Association of Realtors, is the exact same number as homes that sold in 2008. Now, a lot of you would say, oh, that's because we have low inventory. It's actually not true. There are more homes available right now today than there were back in 2008, because there are more homes being built. It's absolutely insane. And all those homes that BlackRock are buying right now, please understand this. The reason why BlackRock are buying them in groups of 1,000 is because the builders like Lennar and D.R. Horton, they can't sell them to the public. They make more money selling them to the public than they do selling them bundled up, because the bundled price is a discounted price. Right now, a lot of those are going for 15% under value, what you would think of the value is. I hope you got something out of this. I got to end this. I got to get to an event, but I thank you so much for watching. I hope you got something out of this. Real Estate Ninja is out.